Well, I'll start off by saying this. Do not blame that game on the defense, okay? I don't care who you play, whether it's a high school team, a junior college team, a college team, much less an NFL team. When you turn the ball over 5 times, 4 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, 3 others in field position to set up touchdowns, you ain't gonna beat anybody I just talked about. Anybody. All right? And that was a disgraceful performance, in my opinion. We threw that game. We gave it away by doing that. We gave them the friggin' game. In my opinion, that sucked. What's that? Playoffs? I'm talking about playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win it.
Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and we've got the Funky Chicken in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great week as we're counting down to Christmas time. Man, I've been working on my Christmas decorations out here, but man, we've had wind like crazy. Keeps blowing my Christmas trees outside over and stuff, but we'll figure it out somehow, some way. So be safe out there. So right now, the Cowboys in desperate need of cornerbacks. This year has to be defined by more than anything else. Injuries have been crazy on the Dallas Cowboys this year. It's literally half of the roster is turned over by injuries this year, literally. For going against Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow, regardless of the 4 wins that they have this season, Joe Burrow has been incredible. 30 TDs, 5 interceptions, and been playing lights out with not a lot of help on his defense. We've been there and done that with them. So we have, of course, our defense is going to need to carry the day. The good news, at least for the Cowboys, is Cincinnati's defense is really, really bad, and the Cowboys seem to have finally found, for the first time this season, the last couple of games, balance in the offense where they're able to run the football, use play action, and pass a lot more sparingly. When the Cowboys had Cooper Rush throwing the ball 60 times, didn't get wins. But when you throw 30 and 28 times a game and you end up running the ball about the same, nice things seem to happen. Nice things seem to happen, and that's the formula that the Cowboys ultimately want to have, but do not have the personnel on a regular basis to be able to do that completely. So the Cowboys, being as shorthanded as they are in the secondary, they brought in 4 defensive backs, including headliner Xavier Howard, who as little as 2 years ago was a Pro Bowl player, bit of a locker room cancer, so to speak, we've heard rumors of, but they did not sign him. What they did do is they did make 2 signings yesterday to the practice squad. Troy Pride Jr., cornerback, 26 years old, 5'11", 195 pounds, played, let's get his statistics here, played cornerback for Carolina and for the Raiders, has a combined total of 42 tackles, 27 solos, 15 assists, and 1 tackle for loss, and that was all 2020. The last time he was on an NFL roster was 2023. So there's that. D. Delaney has more experience, a little bit older, has 52 games under his belt, has 3 interceptions. Teams he's played for, he played with Jacksonville in 2018, Washington in 2019, Tampa Bay 21 through 23, and has a combined 71 tackles, 55 solos, 16 assists, 3 tackles for a loss, and a partridge in a pear tree. This win, it's like literally just blowing shit all over the place. It's like literally blowing. Oh, it blew the shutter. Damn. That means I got to get out on the roof. Damn. The latch must have gone down, so it blew the shutter closed. Anyway, we'll deal with that in a bit. Anyway, the Cowboys definitely not wanting to go against Joe Burrow shorthanded with cornerbacks. That's not a recipe that you want to have right now, but it is what it is. Now, people will keep saying, oh, you're giving people false hope about playoffs and things. No, I have not. Have not at all. I have been one that's been going through and saying, listen, the chances for playoffs right now are not good. They're not good. Let's be clear here. They're not good. If you can find a way to win this game against Cincinnati shorthanded, they improve a little bit. But you still have some really tough games with Washington again, with Philadelphia, with Tampa Bay. You're going to have to run the table in order to make the playoffs. If we make it, hey, great. But I'm not buying playoff tickets. I am not buying playoff tickets. Not going to happen. Okay, so here's the controversy here. And I'm going to say I took it differently. If you look back, and I've got receipts. I did a video yesterday that Mike McCarthy took a bullet for Jerry Jones. That was the title of my video. Because some people are looking at this and saying, Mike McCarthy threw Dak Prescott under the bus. I didn't see it that way. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, let's listen to, actually, Chris Canny. They talk about this morning. And I know my man, Dak Attack. It's not Dak Attack anymore. He changed it because it's copyrighted. But Dak Attack kind of said that Mike McCarthy threw him under the bus. And I have to kind of disagree because he couldn't agree with Dak Prescott and say, yeah, Jerry, you suck, man. You didn't give me enough power. Give me more power, because Jerry's going to be like, you're making me look bad. Mike McCarthy had to go through and basically say, oh, no, Dak is wrong, Jerry. Because I literally was like, I'm dancing, boss. I'm dancing for you. I'm dancing. Yeah. I don't think that Mike McCarthy was throwing shade at Dak per se as much as it was he was kissing Jerry's ass. But here's what they had to say on it.
Sports with like on ESPN radio.
Harry, where my razor at, though?
I gotta go do sports center. Go do sports center, CC. I'll be back.
All right, so
You'll get one.
you won't.
I might get one. It ain't gonna be from Harry, though.
That's true. That's true.
I'll work on it. Okay, so you guys know that I'm a Mike McCarthy fan. Very supportive of Mike
Yes.
McCarthy.
We're aware, yes.
I think he gets a raw deal at times. I was really happy when this happened yesterday. And the highlights, by the way, from 105.3 in Dallas. When Dak Prescott spoke to Jory Epstein at Yahoo Sports and said this about his head coach yesterday.
Yeah, that I believe in him wholeheartedly. I don't want to necessarily get into the nuts and the screws of it all, obviously, but I think he definitely deserves a chance, another contract, and a chance to coach this team amongst and kind of, I guess you could say, more influence on his terms. Maybe a good way to say it, but I wholeheartedly believe in him. The guys won a Super Bowl. I know Jerry's attested to that. There's not many guys or coaches who have done that, and to have one that can do it from experience, and I know how valuable he's been for me.
Okay, so that's pretty supportive of him. And yet, for some reason, I don't understand this. Mike McCarthy, the man he was speaking about yesterday, had this to say, kind of somewhat disagreeing with Dak about himself.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think it's like any job in this one specifically. I mean, I had clear understanding of the responsibilities. This is the most input I've ever been a part of as a head coach in personnel. So, particularly in the draft, we spend a tremendous amount of time as a coaching staff, during the draft, draft selection and preparation process. So, and it's different. I'm just trying to give you an answer, trying to compare it to my past, but yeah. So I'm not sure exactly what he meant by it, but yeah, I think it's just like anything. We're in year 5 of our program. I think we have a lot of excellent things in place. I think we have some things that we can do better, and I think it's all part of growing, and that's no different than the way I felt in year 5 and 6 in my last opportunity.
Mike, just agree with him and move on. What are we doing
can't
here?
do that.
No,
can't
you
do
can't.
that.
Can't.
Because when Dak made that comment, he's taking aim at Jerry Jones.
Correct.
He's saying that the owner is getting in the way of the head coach having the level of influence, the level of input that is necessary in order to get the most out of the players in the locker room and the team to have success. Dak is pointing the finger at upper management and saying, you guys undermined our season by putting Mike McCarthy in this spot where he was a lame duck. Mike McCarthy, who doesn't have a contract beyond this year, can't co-sign on that commentary. So he's got to say, yeah, Jerry Jones allows me to do my job. Jerry Jones allows me to have the input that I need in order to have success. He's got to do that even though he knows it's not true. It's utterly ridiculous, the notion that he has the input that he needs in order to have success. I don't think Mike McCarthy wanted an extended holdout with CeeDee Lamb in training camp. I don't think Mike McCarthy wanted them to take it to the 11th hour before they gave Dak an extension before the regular season started. I don't think Mike McCarthy wanted to start the season with the running back depth chart of Ezekiel Elliott, Rico Dowdell, and Deuce Vaughn. If you handle a lot of the business that the Cowboys did right before the season started, if you do that earlier in the calendar, say March when free agency opens or April, maybe you can get in on getting a running back like Derrick Henry or a Josh Jacobs or Saquon Barkley, guys that were available, guys that have transformed the organizations that they've stepped into. No, you didn't do that. And so I'm pretty sure that Mike McCarthy isn't able to do his job to the highest level because of what Jerry Jones did or didn't do in the months leading up to the start of the season.
Absolutely agree. This is very classic. We keep our dirty laundry inside the house vibes to me. This is like when a little kid goes to school and says to the teacher, Mommy and Daddy yell at each other. And then the parent's like, shh, no, we don't. We're just a loud household. You don't talk about our dirty laundry in public. This is a guy who's trying to keep his job moving forward. He can't criticize his boss when he's trying to get a new deal. So Dak Prescott might have let it slip as an affirmation for his head coach that he wants him to have more autonomy and more overall control. But Mike McCarthy has to tamper that down. He can't be like, yeah, Dak, you tell him I do need more control, because who's not going to like that? The guy who's going to sign his new deal and the guy who signs his checks.
Mike McCarthy's job sucks. Let's just be honest. Based on everything you just said, that stinks.
Of course it does.
So think about this. I know you guys are right, but I'm the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I have the number one most important player on my team who's making close to $60 million a year. Come out there when I'm a pending coaching free agent, so to speak, and have my back publicly. Like no one ever had. His previous quarterback sure as hell wasn't doing that in Green Bay. That his quarterback now is doing that for him. And his response has to be, I don't know what he's talking about, because he's nervous about what Jerry Jones is going to do next.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there is the case in point as to why the Dallas Cowboys have problems. Imagine Russell Wilson coming out there and say, I played for a Hall of Fame caliber coach in Pete Carroll, who I love. He's great, whatever. I've never experienced anything like Mike Tomlin. It's just what he does for us is a 53-man roster. I can't thank this man enough. Tomlin then doesn't have to worry about saying, I don't know what he's talking about, because he's worried about the Rooneys. What he's saying is, thank you, Russ, we got a game on Sunday.
Well, do those people have the fragile ego that Jerry Jones has?
Which one are we talking about? The Rooneys? Hell no.
Do the Rooneys have the need to be the number one star within the organization at all times?
They have the need to never be talked about.
Right.
Ever in any capacity is what their need is, unless it's to talk about their charitable endeavors.
And I know that there's only 32 of these jobs, and I know that the Dallas Cowboys is quite possibly the most visible brand in all of sports. It is a special job in a lot of ways, but it's also a terrible job in a lot of ways, namely because you're standing on very fragile ground at all times because you're dealing with a very unpredictable ego.
But that right there is why, Vince Lombardi, a.k.a. Ben Johnson, that right there is why someone like that should not want that job.
Right.
Because he has choices?
Because you have the public support of your quarterback, and you can't say thank you. You have to make sure it doesn't come off as against the other person. Meaning you have one person on this side and one person on that side.
True.
There are so many people listening right now and watching right now who deal with this every day at work. They have two different bosses, and those people don't like each other. And you're like, I can't be a Smalls guy, and I can't be a Canty guy because fake. They don't like each other, so I can't publicly come off as either one. So I got to stay in the middle. That's exhausting.
Very
versus
much so.
we work for ESPN Radio. We're all thrilled to be here, and we're going to work our asses off to be great every day.
Well, that's why.
What did you say? That was exhausting?
Yeah.
Isn't that what DeMarcus Lawrence said after they got smoked in the playoffs?
Well, maybe that's what he's talking about.
They were tired?
They were tired. They were too burnt out.
I'm burnt out even talking about it.
I'm just saying, maybe that's a part of what's been happening behind the scenes and why this team is notorious for underachieving each and every year.
But you just said team, and it doesn't feel like there's a through line or a connecting point with the Dallas Cowboys.
All right. On a positive note, it is V Week here on ESPN, and when we part.
All right, so that's kind of what I was saying yesterday. I said I didn't take it as Mike McCarthy throwing Dak under the bus. He recognizes I can't speak my mind. I got to kiss his ass if I want to come back. By saying that takes some of the responsibility and the pressure off Jerry Jones, which makes it more advantageous where Jerry says, well, this is a company guy. If he goes on board and says, oh, yeah, great, Dak, I appreciate that, and, yeah, I'd love to have more control. And that's basically saying, yeah, Jerry, you screwed me, which he did. And here's the thing that I want to say, we can say apples to apples comparison, okay? Let's think about this for a second, okay? We had Dan Quinn here, okay? Dan Quinn, who built, was part of building the Legion of Boom, right? Won a Super Bowl, went to another one. Went to Atlanta, although they had the biggest meltdown in Super Bowl history, got the Atlanta Falcons to the Super Bowl. Took a defense that in 2020 was the worst defense in the Cowboys' history. Took basically that team, with adding Micah Parsons to it, and made them a credible defense without going out and getting any premier talent. Let me say that again. They didn't go out and get an edge rusher. They didn't go out and get a defensive lineman. They did it with smoke and mirrors. They grew everybody. The last year he's here, you lose one of your key players that you're planning on being one of your key players in Overshown in training camp. You do nothing to replace him, knowing that you have a Leighton Vander Esch who was one hit away from being retired, which he was. You literally go through the season without getting any other linebacker help. You end up using a good old position flex and saying, we're going to take a safety and make him a linebacker, and think that a 207-pound guy is going to be able to stop the run in playoffs. We go through, instead of saying, it'd been nice if we had gotten Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner, who has had 100-plus tackles every year of his career and is still making plays with Washington, because that's a move you could have made. You had a guy like Von Miller who wanted to come here. That's a play you could have made. You've had defensive linemen that are impact defensive linemen that have wanted to come here, that I'm sure Dan Quinn would have said, hey, can I get this to help me do my job better? And the Cowboys, nah, we can't do that. We don't have money for that. No, we don't want that guy. So we as fans all turn on Dan Quinn and say he's a bum. Get him out of here. He's a bum, man. He sucks. It's all his fault that we're not winning the playoffs, him and Dak. And lo and behold, he goes to a team that basically says, what do you need? What do you need to do your job? And they do the best they can to get him the things that he needs. And in one season, turned around a downtrodden franchise. Now, I don't know how many games that they're going to win, but they've already got 8. They've already got 8. They are ahead of schedule. So when you look at him being here and being there, the difference isn't that all of a sudden he remembered how to coach. He had the tools to make the job successful. Here, he had to make do with everything that he could get. And that's the situation that you have now with Mike McCarthy. You don't have the players. You don't have health of the good ones that you have. And he's the one that's taking all the blame for those shortcomings when it's really the organization. We can go through and say the team is just a bunch of bums and, we need to get rid of them. Well, okay. So we're going to get rid of the ones that are good and playing, like Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott, in hopes that this team will then all of a sudden say, let's go out and find people that are better than them on top of the other holes that we had. Sorry, it's not a winning formula. And if I'm Mike McCarthy, and like I said about Dak Prescott, is this a job that I really want? When you know what you've got with Jerry and Stephen Jones? I don't know if it is. But hey, what do I know? I'm a guy with a day job and a voodoo doll. And as always, I appreciate you guys. Tonight we'll be live streaming. I think we'll be live streaming. Today's my wife's birthday, but she's kind of busy taking care of some stuff, taking care of things and all at the moment. So I'm not sure what our plans are going to be. I'm going to definitely take her out to dinner tonight, but we should be live streaming the game, a very important game, the Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions. I think at this point, as Cowboy fans, we recognize that we're not going to be in the big show. Okay, we're maybe we sneak in the playoffs, but we're not going to be, not with the amount of injuries that we keep compiling. But we definitely don't want the Eagles to be there. So at this point, you kind of have to root for the Lions because you want them to get that number 1 seed. We definitely don't want the Eagles to get that, but that's me. What do I know? All right, good people. I hope you all are having a great day, and remember.
Well, I'll start off by saying this. Do not blame that game on the defense, okay? I don't care who you play, whether it's a high school team, a junior college team, a college team, much less an NFL team. When you turn the ball over 5 times, 4 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, 3 others in field position to set up touchdowns, you ain't going to beat anybody I just talked about. Anybody. All right? And that was a disgraceful performance, in my opinion. We threw that game. We gave it away by doing that. We gave them the friggin' game. In my opinion, that sucked. What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?